What I love about, could you put that verse back up, please? What I love about this verse is I've made so many decisions in my life and it's all been funneled through this verse. Humble yourselves. What that meant to me was getting out of Devin's way, getting out of my way, and getting under the mighty hand of God, getting under submitting authority, because He wants to protect you. One thing I saw when I read this the other day even further was God's hand is like an umbrella that's protecting us from the storms called life. That things are trying to rain down on us, to hinder our growth in our relationship with God, to hinder in our relationship with people, to hinder us to walk out the vision that God's put in front of us. But God's covered us with an umbrella. Isn't that cool? How many of you guys actually use an umbrella? Thought the umbrella was cool, but no one uses umbrellas. If you guys start, you're welcome. Umbrellas are awesome. Just get wet and, get refreshed. I want to share with you guys 3 points throughout my story that are really interwoven together that build to the next. The first one is vision. My vision is, as I said, to play baseball. But my vision that I actually articulated and knew what was going on was in elementary school. You guys ever had that teacher, and this is by no surprise what I'm about to say next is, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a professional baseball player. I saw it. I wanted to have it. I did everything I could from that moment on to strive to obtain, to get it. That's passion. What are you passionate about? What gets you going? I love with the 1 Peter 5:6, it says in the proper time, He will exalt you. It doesn't say in the proper time, you choose when you'll be exalted. In and of our own time, we're vulnerable to defeat. But in and through Christ's time, it's victorious. I don't want to do it on my time, even though us as humans, we want things right now and we want it right now. That's why we like our fast food fast. But I believe that when we humbly submit to God, He wants to pour out to a new level. A lot of times I've seen people go through their vision and they don't see it starting to materialize, so they lose sight. Don't lose sight of your vision due to the lack of resources. Don't lose sight of your vision due to the lack of resources. God's put so many resources in your hand. What is in your hand that you can use it how it's created? You might say, well, how do I do that? Well, you got to evaluate the dream that's inside of you. You got to step back to recognize, what has God put in your hand? And are you using it in how it was created? For me, as I said, throughout my story, I played baseball. One main resource was a bat. There's a glove too, and a ball. But one thing was a bat. Over the course of my time, I went through a lot of bats, and I don't have too many left. But this bat right here is a bat that I used my senior year. And this bat took a lot of wear and tear. One thing I know about wood bats is they're easy to break if you don't know how to use them. And so one thing is with this bat, to you guys, it may just look like a piece of wood. But to me, it was a part of my vision. God put something in my hand, and I mastered that craft to the best of my ability. I walked down that path and I strived to become the best that I could be in the gift and the talent that He put inside of me. What has God put in your hand? It may not look like a bat. It may look like love. It may look like building something. It may look like something bigger than you are, because it needs to be God infused. I used this bat repeatedly, and it actually became stronger over time. When I first started using it, a lot of people, you got to hit it in the sweet spot. You got to hit it in the right direction where the wood grain is running against it, where you have the maximum strength to go the furthest distance. But if you don't know how to use the resource that's in your hand, how are you going to make the impact that God's calling you to make? For those of you may be questioning, man, the lack of resources is really what's hindering me. Don't let it. If that vision's big and it's God infused, if every step you take, He's going to fulfill it in His time. Not your time. Move towards your vision and the resources will follow. If you sell out to run the race that He's put in front of you, the resources will follow, even when you can't see it. That's what I like to call faith it. That's where faith intertwines, and hey, you run and you don't grow weary. You walk and you do not faint because God's putting something in your hand. What's in your hand that are you using it? You got to move towards your vision. The capacity. Everybody say capacity. Capacity will begin to expand to get you closer to your vision. For me, my capacity started to grow in baseball because I knew where I wanted to go. In high school, I went to high school in Dallas, Texas, in a small town just north of Dallas called Frisco, Texas. It's the second high school in the town right there. I was the first graduating class of all 4 years. We didn't have a varsity baseball team until my sophomore year, and I was a 3-year letterman in baseball from there on. And I remember that a lot of my teammates didn't have the want to. They were playing because it was something to do. It wasn't who they were. It wasn't what God put inside of them, because they didn't know, they didn't think, and they didn't believe that they could play to the next level. And can I tell you that I knew I wanted to play further? I wanted to be better at what I was doing. And by hearing these doubters around me, started making me question and started making me self-doubting myself, can I really play to the next level? I believe that God has a call on each one of us. And if we let the people around us hinder it, find some new people. You choose who's around you. Or love them even more. Love them even more. But my capacity had to grow, which led me into graduating. I had some offers to play baseball right out of college. I turned them down to be a family. My dad was working over in the West Coast. Moved over there. My mom, awesome woman of God. We loaded up our truck, hauled my truck, loaded up the dogs, and went cross country. That was a terrible drive. Never again do I want to go on a road trip. I'd rather fly. Thankfully, we live in Hawaii where you can't really have a long road trip. And you gotta fly. But I found my way all the way to Hawaii. I had a dream inside of me. I wasn't playing ball. I was going to school. I was surfing. I had an opportunity to go check out a junior college. They wanted to fly me out for a weekend to begin my college career. What was scary about that was I had to board a flight, 5.5 hours to LA, never flew alone, and never flew alone that distance. Had no idea who I was going to meet. Had no idea what was going to happen the next 3 days. Am I really going to be able to come home? I had no idea. I get there on a Thursday, coach picks me up. It was a crazy long story. That's just a message right in and of itself. But I get to the coach's house that night, sleep real good. The next day, wake up and go train with the team Friday and Saturday. Sunday, the coach is getting ready to take me to the airport. I called my parents and I said, hey, Mom, you with Dad? Will you put me on speaker real quick, please? Yeah, I know my flight gets in at 5 o'clock. Well, I won't be there. I was pursuing my vision, and in that I saw in 2 days there was something so special. And God called me to a place such as Southern California, to a small town called San Jacinto. You don't even know where it's at. That in that moment, I believed that I was supposed to be there. I didn't even have a spot in the starting lineup. I was a shortstop. Their shortstop was number 5 on the top draft prospects in the state of California. Why the heck did I stay? I'm like, I don't care. I know I'm supposed to be here. I ended up making the transition over to third base. I ended up starting 2 weeks later, the season started. God made a way because I had a vision. I moved towards that vision, and the resources, they followed. From there, we actually set a record for that college that year. They never advanced past the first round of the playoffs. We made it to the Super Regionals. We made it to the Final Four in the state of Southern California, because California is huge, y'all. And we got eliminated. From there, I came back home. I trained. I had a bad injury with my hamstring. Coming back, I was doing everything I can to get healthy. And it was an honor. I was personally invited to participate in the SoCal Junior College All-Star Game. It was the most prestigious event for junior college baseball. And I ended up starting in the starting lineup at third base. And you rotate through. The All-Star Game is kind of like a showcase. I played the first 2 innings, had a good showing. We had about 150, 200 scouts in the stands. And I realized at that moment that God was doing something so much bigger than I even realized. I had several calls from Division I schools after that. And I thought without a shadow of a doubt, after my sophomore year, I'm going to a school that God has for me. That sophomore year came and a lot of things went down because I went to 5 colleges. Every time you transfer, you lose credit, Ended up signing with LSU in Shreveport, Louisiana. And we're going to get to what happened in Shreveport, Louisiana in a second. But I believe that if I let those doubters, they didn't stop in high school. It got worse in college. In college, though, I didn't doubt myself. I listened what other people would doubt, and it got to me because I cared what they thought. In that moment, the world, the people around me tried to hinder my capacity to grow in that area. Whatever area that you're looking to grow, whatever area you're looking to get better, I pray that we begin to be bubble poppers. It's going to take the lid off your capacity. Thank you. I was just screaming. I was just going for it. That we're called to be bubble poppers. Look at your neighbor and say, pop that bubble. I always want to grow in everything that I'm doing. God wants you to grow in his relationship with him, in the vision that he's placed inside of you, to take the lid off, to let his capacity flood in, to let his purpose flood into your life. And that choice is up to you. Do you really want to grow? Do you want your capacity to get bigger? Throughout that whole story I share with you, going from Hawaii to California, all the way then to Louisiana, is I had to go a path that I didn't know what to expect. I had to walk a path, and I basically not calling myself a pioneer, but I pioneered what God was doing inside of me. I believe that pioneering brings purpose to what may appear to be a problem.
That's good.
I'm going to say that again. Pioneering brings purpose to what may appear to be a problem. That problem may look like negativity or doubt or worry or fear. But when you pioneer, your purpose is able to flourish. And God wants to flourish the purpose and the vision and the passion that's inside of you, even greater than he already has. I want to blossom, just like these flowers. I want to blossom to everything that God's created me to be. If you want it, grow in the area you want to go. If you want to reach people, start loving people. If you want to start traveling, travel. If you want to start building God's kingdom here on this earth, get involved. Step in. Show up. That's one thing. I just got to time out. This ain't going in my time, right? I got a little. A lot of people say one thing and then all of a sudden they don't show up. I ain't talking about like standing up on a first date. That's just, hey, if you done that, hey, it's all good. Ain't no judgment here. This is God's house. But I believe that we're called to be people when we commit to something. We want to grow. We want to get better at it. If I said something to somebody, I want to make sure I see it fulfilled, whether I like to do it or not. Because it's not about me in that process. Your purpose expands your capacity. Your purpose expands your capacity. I told you I got to Shreveport, Louisiana. In Shreveport, Louisiana, I came in, was the Hawaii kid. First day of practice, everyone knew I wasn't from there. How I dressed, had board shorts, slippers, snapback, tank top, fanny pack. I think I hit them all right there. That stood out no matter where you were. And I went in, I met my coach. I met my coach for the first time in church before we had our first team meeting. Like, God, really? Like, I know I'm supposed to be here. I remember that season we were pre-ranked number 4 in the nation going into the first week of the season. After the first poll 2 weeks later, we were number 1 in the nation, and we did not become anything less than number 1 in the nation the rest of the year. We blew past people in the first round of the playoffs. We got a little bit closer of a ball games in the super regionals. But we still booked our ticket to Lewis and Clark State, and Lewiston, Idaho was the home of the NAIA College World Series. And as you go in the number 1 nation, you get a first round bye. So we were the last team to play. So we got to see and scout out a little bit, and we got to play and watch and get some, scouting reports. And we go to play. We went into the World Series 52 wins and 4 losses on the year. We were number 1 for a reason. We had a great team. And we never talked about it. We just went out and played. I was living out my vision. And my capacity was expanding. I was ready for whatever came my way on that baseball field. We got beat the first game. We got beat. No number 1 seed in the history of the College World Series in NAIA has come into the World Series and went 2 and done. That means 2 losses right away and you're done. So after we lost first one, we go into loser's bracket. We never been in the loser's bracket 4 times. But we played the host team, Lewis and Clark State. They're the most winningest team in the history of NAIA sports. That's why they hosted at their facility. Awesome facility, has about 7,500 people in the stands. This game was special because this was a turning point. Our back was against the wall. We went into it not worrying about what happened yesterday, fixed our eyes at what's ahead of us. We saw a victory already before we stepped on that field. And it was a back and forth. It was a tug of war. They went ahead, we went ahead. And I have a clip that I'm about to show you in 1 second that I believe is I saw where I wanted to go and expanded the capacity. God did something that was beyond my wildest dreams. I saw it before it even happened. Take a look.
LSU Shreveport was on the verge of elimination at the NAIA World Series after losing their opening game 3-2 to Rogers State. They needed the win this afternoon, or it was going to be a very long trip back home. They played host to Lewis and Clark, the host team, in front of their home crowd. The Warriors take a 3-0 lead into the 6th. Manny Estrada at the plate hits a shot past third base. Houghton's Cody Causey scores, 3-1 ball game. Still in the 6th, Stephen Hobbins with a shot to right center. That brings home Estrada, and the Pilots cut the lead to 1 run. And in the bottom of the 7th, North DeSoto's Kyle Pearson comes up big. This one is leaving the park. This game is now tied at 3 apiece. That's the same score in the bottom of the 9th inning with bases loaded for Devin Greco. He couldn't, could he? Oh, yeah, he just did. That's a walk-off grand slam. Greco keeps the Pilots alive in the World Series, 7-3, the final.
Blessed to be out here, blessed to have the opportunity to get that last at bat, and I was just trying to help the team win, and came through. It was awesome. Words can't describe how I feel right now. You see that because God did something in my life because I saw something. I grew in my capacity, and it led to impact. It led to impact. God is an impact equipper. And he has equipped you already, more than you even know, to play well. Not just play, but play well. Just as the resource he put in my hand is a bat, I grew in that area. He equipped me with it. Everybody say, I am impact.
I am impact.
By failing to recognize the tools God has put in your hand, it forfeits you from accomplishing your purpose. If you don't recognize it, you can't use it in the degree it was created. What's crazy about this story here is this was a high point in my career. This was the pinnacle. I saw that happen thousands of times in my head before it did. So when it came, I was excited. Of course, there's nerves, just like anything. I was excited to jump in. I was excited to get in that batter's box. He hung a first pitch curveball, and I hit that thing a long way because I geared myself for it. I saw it. I grew in it, and I was able to impact because God put it inside of me already. I grew in the craft that He gave me. Real quick, in the short amount of time I have left, I want to share with you guys 2 stories. My senior year, I go back. I broke my hand my first game in my senior year. It was tough. I knew all I needed to do was put together 1 full year healthy. And I knew that I'd be able to sign a professional contract. I was like, hey, well, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? 4 weeks later, I get my cast off, my lower back went out. And I cried out to God, God, why? Like, this has been a dream. And through that season, what happened was I tried everything I could to get healthy. Physical therapy, cortisone injections, everything. Nothing was working. I was devastated that I couldn't join my teammates in battle. But in that time, God did something new that was devastating in the process. But He was preparing me for something greater, but I couldn't see past where I was. I couldn't see it. For so long, God put a bat in my hand. And tonight, I'm here to tell you that usually I always had 5 to 7 bats, as I said at the beginning of this message. I got 1 bat left from everything that happened. And it's never been taken out of this wrapper. It's never been utilized to how it was supposed to be used. First off, I'd have to take it out to try to swing it. But I believe that season of my life, God was redirecting. That He was wanting to put something new in my life. It wasn't going to be jumping in those lines and playing baseball and suiting up and going to swing and hitting fastballs and curveballs. It was something greater. This bat here is not just a baseball bat anymore. This bat represents what God is wanting to do in your life. Too many people leave it on the shelf. Well, I believe that it's supposed to be created to use. We're supposed to use it. It's shiny, it looks good. It's a lot stronger once it starts going through the fire. It's a lot stronger once you start putting it to use. Greater impact is made using the right equipment, the right way. God's put something in each one of your hand. Are you using it the right way and how it was intended, how it was created to see your vision fulfilled? In closing tonight, God's put something in our hand. God used baseball to impact my life and many others to a degree farther than I can even comprehend, nor would I ever give credit to myself for it. God brought me there. I was a vessel. I wanted to be the best I could be in everything I did. After baseball ended, I had to go back to school. And it was really tough going back to school just to go to school. I was there for baseball. That's what got me through. Little did I know in that time that one of the churches I was going to, I started helping out their young adult ministry. They were in a transitional period. There was 2 other guys and me. We came joined together. Now we're best friends. We're all across the nation doing different things. One just moved to Stockholm, Sweden, to church plant. One's in Dallas, Texas, leading Gateway students. And God put me back here with you guys. God was so good and was ushering me into full-time ministry to a way I didn't even realize, nor did I ever want. We started leading a young adult ministry. When we started, there was about 200 young adults every Monday night. Within 6 months later, before I moved, we averaged 450 young adults every single Monday night. It was incredible. I had a decision to be made. I funneled through 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourself and mighty right hand God. In due time, he will exalt you. I came home. I came home to launch a business. And can I tell you that 3 years ago this month, I moved home and officially launched my business. After I launched the business, I was tirelessly working to try to build something and relied on Pastor Josh and Shannon's encouragement through a lot of it. PJ, I need to talk, man. I'm going through a time. I don't know what to do. Help me. And I always knew I wanted to do more than what I could ever articulate in words. There was a new vision that God put inside of me when I grabbed on to the new gift, the new resource he put in front of me. I love business. I love ministry in the house. And I believe we're all called to ministry, but what the platform is that we're operating is going to be different. I had a heart to combine the ministry world with the business world, to breathe fresh air into it, to say, you know what, for so long it's been done this way, but God can do it a million other ways and make the same but greater impact. Can I tell you that exactly to the date, April 3rd of 2016, I got a call from Pastor Shannon. And what she said, she goes, Devin, God put a dream, he put a vision in my heart. Will you come and join our first meeting to talk about Impact 7? And it was a time that I had a lot going on. I said, yeah, I'll be there. I didn't know what to expect. But I utilized the resource God put in my hand. I answered the call. I showed up. And can I tell you, it's been a year now. We officially started Impact 7 last around May, June, so coming up almost our 1-year anniversary. We started out there in the foyer for those of you around. And look what God's done with the resources that we grabbed onto. That I'm able to stand right here in front of you guys tonight and share with you my story that I've never personally shared with anybody. Maybe bits and pieces. But if there's anything that you can take away from tonight, is to fix your eyes on the vision that God's put inside of you. Forget about the past. He wants to do something new. Grow in the capacity, in the area you want to go. Grab on to the new that he's put in front of you, because miraculous things can be done through just a wooden bat.